Hello, this is Lisa with Old Orchid Yarnery, and I'm here to show you our December crocheted block for the block party we've been doing this year. I can't believe it's December already, but here we go. So we've been building on techniques, learning new techniques all year, and December's block is going to be Tunisian crochet. Here's my sample. Now you're going to see it's a little small. This one on below is just from a prior month. This one is mine from this month. But I'm going to tell you how to make yours not as small as mine. It pulled in a little more than I thought it would. So we're going to adjust for that so that you don't have that problem. Tunisian crochet is a fun technique using a crochet hook. It's a little bit different kind of crochet hook though. And you get this a little bit more dense fabric. You can do different stitches. This is called the Tunisian simple stitch here. And you can do your whole square with just that stitch. But I'm also going to show you the Tunisian honeycomb stitch. So if you decide you want to give that a try, you can do part of your square with that as well. And then I went back to the Tunisian simple stitch. So first of all, let me just talk to you a little bit about the crochet hooks needed. A Tunisian crochet hook sometimes can be like this, a crochet hook with a cable on the end of it. This one is a cable and then it has a little bead here at the end. Other times Tunisian crochet hooks can be straight. They can just be like this, a long straight crochet hook. And here's another style. This is a little older. Has a crochet hook at the top and then long and then a little stopper at the bottom so the work doesn't fall off. So you can use straight or cabled Tunisian hook, whatever you prefer. You can't really use a regular crochet hook because they oftentimes have a thumb grip in the middle and they're not really long enough. But it's up to you. See what you can do. You're going to need something that's going to be at least the length of your squares, which have been about 8 to 9 inches for most of ours that we've been doing, because they'll need to hold all those stitches. And of course, I do have crochet hooks, Tunisian crochet hooks here at the shop if you need them. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, like any crochet project, we're going to start with chaining. Now, the other thing you should know about Tunisian crochet is that Tunisian crochet can tend to curl and be a little tighter. And like I said, this pulled in a little more than I thought it would. So you're going to want to go up a hook size. So far for all of the blocks, I have been using the same Swainyo DK weight bamboo merino blend yarn. And I've been using a size H or 5mm crochet hook for all of mine. For this particular project, I went to a size J or a 6mm crochet hook, and I probably could have even gone up a little bit more than that. So you might want to just give it a try, go up 1 or 2 hook sizes, see what you think. If that doesn't help, then you might need to chain a few extra stitches. So for our demo here, I'm just going to start by chaining 10 or 12. For your square, so for my square I did here that came out a little small, I chained 30. It probably should have been 35 to 38, possibly even 40 to get the right size. So keep that in mind. I'm going to just chain 10 or 12 here to give you a demo on how to do the stitch. Chaining just like normal, nothing unusual. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll give it 2 more, 11 and 12. Now what you're doing with Tunisian crochet is you have a forward pass and a return pass. No matter what Tunisian crochet stitch you're doing, it's always a forward pass and a return pass. And that both of those together create one row. What we're going to do though is we want to go along and we want to pick up a stitch in each one of these chains. You have 2 choices. You can either just pick up like you would normally right in the chain like this, or some people like to have you turn the chain over and pick up in this back bump right here along the back of your chain. Can you see that? Those bumps on the back. The reason is that leaves a nice little chain on the bottom of your piece. For our purposes, because those are all going to be buried in seams, I'm not really worried about that. So we're just going to pick up normally along the chain. So I chained 12. So I'm just going to go in and pull up a loop. And then I'll go into the next chain and pull up a loop. You see I'm gathering them all up here on this crochet hook. This is the forward pass. You go into the stitch and pull up a loop. You're going to do that all the way across to the very end, and you want to pick up and have the same number of loops on your hook that you started with for your chain. In my case, that was 12, I believe. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. I think we should be right. And let's double check and see if I'm right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I chained 12, and then I went and I picked up a loop in each one of those chains. That's the forward pass. And now to start the return pass, we're gonna yarn over and chain 1. I like to call that the little elevator that gets us up to the next level of stitches. Oh, I'm tangled up. Just a moment. Okay, so I chained 12. You're going to chain probably 38 to 40. And then I went and I picked up a loop in each stitch all the way down. Then I did a chain 1 at the far end. And now I'm going to start my return pass. Return pass, no matter what stitch you're doing, is always going to be the same in Tunisian crochet. We're going to yarn over and pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2, and do that all the way back to the end. This is my return pass. I love this. I find it really rhythmic. To just pull through 2, and 2, all the way down. Now your second row and all of your other forward passes are slightly different at the end than the first row. So here's our first row that we've completed. We did our forward pass and our return pass. Let me move that out of the way, see if this helps. I'm trying to make sure you can see. All right, so do you see all of these vertical bars that are going down here and here and here? All those vertical bars. Those are what we're looking for right now in Tunisian crochet. So this very first vertical bar, which is the end stitch, is part of this stitch. So we're not going to do anything with that one. This is the first vertical bar we want. We're going to be picking up in each one of these vertical bars all the way down. So get here. Again, we're going to skip this one because that's attached to the stitch, the loop on my hook. We're going to go in here. So we're just going to go under that vertical bar, drop a loop, under the next vertical bar and drop a loop. This is the Tunisian simple stitch. And we're going to drop a loop under the vertical bar all the way down. And again, you want to end up with the same number of loops on your hook that you started with your chain. For me, this is 12 for this little sample. Now let me show you what we're going to do differently when we get to the end. I'm just going down. Okay. So you can see I've pulled up the last vertical bar there before the very end. Let's double check that I have 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So the difference in your forward pass for the rest of the rows is you want to go under the whole stitch on the end. So I'm gonna, this would get something to point with here. This would kind of be the vertical bar right there on the edge that you would go under, but we want to flip the edge. And you see both sides of that stitch? We want to go under both sides through that whole stitch right there on the end and pull up a loop. So now I have 12 loops again on my hook, and I'm going to yarn over and chain, and then I'm going to start my return pass. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, all the way back. And that's all there is to the Tunisian simple stitch. I'll show you another row. And what you're going to do for your square is you're going to just continue, if you choose to, the Tunisian simple stitch until your square is the height that you need it to be. Now, Tunisian simple stitch tends to roll quite a bit. So this I blocked a little bit. I just kind of sprayed it with water and let it dry overnight. Rather than soak it because I was out of time. But you're definitely going to want to block it and pin it out nicely because it is going to want to roll and curl. That's just the nature of Tunisian crochet. We try to mitigate that a little bit by using a larger hook. That helps. But because we're going to be sewing these together, I don't think it'll be too problematic. If you're making a garment or a blanket or something else that needed to lay flat, you'd have to really be mindful of your hook size and your blocking methods to be able to get it to lay just as flat as you can. Okay, so we've done 2 forward passes and 2 return passes. So let me see if I can show you. You can still see the vertical bars of our first row, and here's the vertical bars of our second row. So one more time, we're not going to pick up this vertical bar right on the end because that's attached to the loop on my hook. So we're going to go under the next vertical bar and pull up a loop. And here's the next vertical bar. They're pretty easy to see. And it's loose. It's pretty easy to get under there. I really don't find it to be problematic at all. I'm not having to fight it to get my hook in there or anything like that. If you find that you are having some trouble, I'm going to say take a breath, loosen up. You're probably a little tense, which can happen when you're learning something new. Don't worry. It's just yarn. We like yarn, right? Okay, so I'm at the end. I've picked up that last obvious vertical bar. I should have 11, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. So now I'm going to pick up both sides of this stitch on the end. So I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to flip it so that I can see that whole stitch right there. There's the 2 sides. And I'm going to go under both pieces of that stitch, pull up a loop. That's the only thing we do differently on the edge. Now I'm going to yarn over and chain 1, and now I'll start my return pass, which, like I've shown you before, and no matter what stitch you're doing, it's yarn over, pull through 2, and so forth, all the way down the row. All right, I'm going to go do a couple more rows of Tunisian simple stitch, which is what I've been showing you, and I'll come back and show you the Tunisian honeycomb stitch. We'll be right back. Okay, so I've done a couple more rows of Tunisian simple stitch. See right here, it's kind of lining up almost like a little bit of a grid pattern. You can do your entire block in Tunisian simple stitch if you want to. It looks really nice. I'm just going to show you a couple more Tunisian stitches just in case you feel like you want to branch out and do something different. If you want to look at any other stitches, I've got a couple of great books here in the shop that have so many Tunisian stitches in them. I couldn't even believe there were so many. It's amazing the different fabrics you can get from the Tunisian stitches. But right now I'm going to show you is the honeycomb stitch, which is what I've done a little section of in the middle. So you can see how instead of a grid lining up like the simple stitch, you've kind of got this honeycomb pattern going on. Now that's formed by doing the Tunisian simple stitch and then a Tunisian purl stitch. Now you might think that sounds a little strange because purl is usually associated with knitting, but in Tunisian crochet we have a Tunisian purl stitch. So just like before, we're going to be picking up under these bars that are going across. So that's very similar to what you've been doing in the Tunisian simple stitch. Just like that, we're not going to pick up this first one either because that belongs to the one here on my hook. The first one I'm going to go under is here. So I'm going to start, we're going to alternate the regular Tunisian simple stitch and the Tunisian purl stitch. And then on the next row, they're going to be offset from one another. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to do a regular Tunisian simple stitch. So just go under that bar and pull up a loop. Now for the Tunisian purl stitch, I'm going to bring my yarn to the front. See how I'm putting my hook behind the yarn and going in that bar. And now I need to wrap my hook around this way and pull up a loop. And what that's done is it's formed this little purl bump on the front. I'll show you again a few more times, don't worry. So now we're going to do a regular, so we're just going to go under the bar and pull up a loop. And now we're going to do the purl stitch. So we're going to put our hook behind the yarn, go under, and then I'm wrapping the yarn around my hook and pulling it through. And now we'll do a regular and a purl. Hook behind the yarn, go through that vertical bar, wrap the yarn, and pull up a loop. Now we'll do a regular, and now a purl. Hook behind the yarn, wrap the yarn around, pull up a loop. If you have to slow this down, you can. There's a place in YouTube you can hit the little gear and do playback speed slow, so you can take a look and watch it little bits at a time. Keep going back and forth, you'll get it. Now if I stop in the middle and I don't remember which one I'm on, you can see this little bump right next to the stitch, the loop on my hook. That's a purl bump, so that's a purl stitch. This one's just a regular one. There's a purl, and a regular. So I've just done a purl, I'm going to do a regular. So we'll go under the next bar, pull up a loop, and now I'm at the very end, so I'm just going to go ahead and not going to do a purl or anything. I'm just going to go under both legs of that stitch on the end. Remember to kind of flip it a little bit so I can see both sides of it, and I'll go into the stitch and pull up a loop. Now I'm going to chain 1 and I'll do my return pass. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, the one I just took off. Okay. Let me double check that. Nope, I was short one, so I was missing this last vertical bar right here, so that needs to be a purl. Always count if you're not sure. Wrap that and pull it through. Now I will go under both legs of that very end stitch. Pull up a loop. Before I chain 1, let's count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Good. That's what I wanted. If you don't be sure to get all of your stitches, I just chained 1, then what you're going to end up with is a side that curves in. Now this tends to want to curve in a little bit anyway. Can you see how my chain at the bottom is a little further out? See if I can unroll it. Right here, you see that jog out, but then it's settled down right here. That's just kind of the nature of it. Don't worry too much about that. When you block it, that'll settle down. It's just a little distended and looking distorted right here at the beginning. What we want is we want these nice straight sides on each side of our piece, but don't worry about that very first row if it looks bad. Okay, I chained 1, so now I'm gonna do my return pass. Return pass in the honeycomb stitch is just the same. Yarn over, pull through 2, all the way back. Nothing different there. With Tunisian crochet, what normally makes the difference in the stitches is how and where you insert your hook to pick up that loop on the forward pass. Return pass is usually the same. Okay. And through the last 2. So I've done 1 row of Tunisian honeycomb stitch. I started with a regular and then did a purl. And again, if you're not sure, you can kind of learn to read your crochet stitches here. This is a regular, that's a purl. You see the little purl, the bump at the bottom of that stitch? There's a regular and a purl. So I know I started the last one with a regular, so I'm going to start this row with a purl. I'm going to put my hook behind the yarn, go into the vertical bar, wrap that around, and pull up a loop. Now a regular. And then a purl. Now it's this combination of purls and regular Tunisian stitches that causes the pattern to form. You really can't see it until you, purl, regular, purl. You really can't see it until you start, you've done a couple of rows. So, purl, and a regular, and a purl. Again, I'm putting the yarn, the hook behind the yarn, going into the vertical bar, wrapping around, and pulling up a loop. And now a regular, and a purl, and a regular, and let's count, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, good. And now the very last stitch, it doesn't matter what I've just done, purl or regular, I'm just going to go under both legs of that last stitch, pull up a loop, chain 1, and then start my return pass. 2, 2, and so forth. All right, I'm going to do a couple more rows of this honeycomb stitch, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. And I'm going to show you 1 more Tunisian stitch. That way you've got a few options for your block, so you can decide what you want to do. Finish this row. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, I've finished a couple of rows of the honeycomb stitch, so you can see that pattern starting to form there with the diamond shapes. And that's just by alternating those regular Tunisian stitches and the Tunisian purl. The regular, the purl, the regular, the purl, and then the next row you're offsetting it, starting with the purl, regular, purl, regular, purl, regular. And by doing that and then doing your return pass just like normal, it makes this stitch that looks kind of like a diamond shape. Here it is a little bit bigger. I thought it would just look kind of nice going down the middle of my square. All right, I'm going to show you one last Tunisian stitch, but before I do, I want to show you that Tunisian crochet, if you make a mistake, is not that difficult to work with. Just like any crochet, what you're going to do is you're going to pull your hook out and you're just going to tear back until you're down to one loop again. I wouldn't try to, I mean, you can tear back until partway through the row, but I wouldn't. I would just tear back till I got down to one loop again at the right side, put it in, and then go through and start picking up my bars. Now you can see how these loops look kind of distended here where I've pulled that out. That's just the bar that I had gone under, and so it's been pulled a little bit because I went through there. But I'll be able to still go into that bar just like normal and pull up a loop. So let me redo that row and then I'll come back and show you the last stitch. Okay, we're back. I'm going to show you one more stitch, but first I just want to remind you that if you're not feeling super adventurous and you just want to give it a try, this is your first time with Tunisian crochet, maybe just think about sticking with the Tunisian simple stitch. You're picking up those loops all the way across, doing your return pass, picking up the loops in the vertical bars all the way across, doing your return pass, just doing that over and over again until you get the height you want for your square. If you want to get adventurous and throw something else in there, you could either do a whole nother square out of, say, the Tunisian honeycomb stitch, or this next one I'm going to show you, or put a stripe of it in the middle of your square like I did here. It's up to you. But what I'm going to show you now is called the Tunisian knit stitch. This little sample I have here in the shop, it's a little soap sack. You can see the Tunisian simple stitch here at the bottom. Then I have the Tunisian knit stitch in the middle. You see how it looks like columns of knit stitches? And then I went back to the Tunisian simple stitch at the top. So let me show you how to do that Tunisian knit stitch. I've got timestamps at the bottom of this video, so if you want to skip ahead or rewatch any of the particular stitches, you can, but don't be intimidated. It's not too scary. All right, so starting Tunisian knit stitch, like always, this first vertical bar here I don't want because it's attached to the hook, the loop that's on my hook. I want this next vertical bar. But if I look at it, see how it's kind of open along there? And you can see the whole loop of the stitch for each one. It's not just the vertical bar, but I can see the back side of that stitch too. Can you see that? For the Tunisian knit stitch, what you're going to do is you're going to insert your hook right through the middle of that whole stitch. I'll show you again and pull up a loop. So rather than just going into the vertical bar here, you're going into the whole stitch. So right through to the back and pulling up a loop. Here's my next one. This would be the vertical bar I would pick up, but there's the whole stitch. If I pull it apart a little more, you can see it. And so I'm going right into that whole stitch through to the back. And I'm just going to repeat that all the way across. The good thing about this is that Tunisian crochet is pretty open, so you can kind of see it, where that stitch is. There's another one right here, just right through the middle of the stitch. Let's double check how many I have. 2, 4, 6, 11, good. And so now I'm just gonna, as always, tilt this last stitch so I can see both sides of it and go under both legs of the stitch and pull up a loop. Now I'm going to chain 1 and then the return pass, you guessed it, same as always. Yarn over, pull through 2, all the way down. Uh-oh, I'm running out of yarn. I will have to get some more so I can do another row and show you. But let me finish this one first. Pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, until you just have the one loop left on your hook. All right, let me get some more yarn. I'll be right back. Okay, let me just demonstrate to you one more time how to do, where you're going to insert your hook for the Tunisian knit stitch. This first stitch is attached to the loop on my hook. Here's my next stitch right here. There would be the vertical bar, but if I turn it sideways, I can see the whole stitch. Go into the entire stitch. There's the whole stitch. By inserting into that whole stitch, what it's going to give us is it's going to give us a fabric that mimics the look of knit fabric. Now, if I can't quite find the next one, just pull it apart. Here's my next stitch, so I'm going to go right in the middle of it. Don't be afraid to kind of pull on things a little bit and tug it so you can see where you need to go. And here, as you can see, I did not get more yarn. I ran out. I couldn't find any more of that color. So through, last stitch here. It's going to be problematic. All right, and then the very last one, we're going to flip it and go under both legs of the stitch right on the edge. And then you chain one and do your return pass. Yarn over and pull through two all the way down the line. And what you'll get with Tunisian knit stitch is something that looks like this. By inserting through that entire stitch right in the middle, it creates this kind of a fabric. As always, if you have any problems or questions, please give me a call or come on into the shop. We'll be getting together in January to have a little workshop on how to put them together. But until then, I'll look forward to seeing what you're doing. Bye-bye.